Well, I have to say, it's always such a pleasure to be here. I was here 2 years ago. It's very exciting that we're all back together again. I don't know how many of you have been talking to your computer for the last 18 months. And just to be in a room, how wonderful is this? And it's also quite a tough thing when somebody like the incredible Maria Vesterbo says to you, "So Sian, tell them a little bit about your journey." And I'm thinking, what? After the doctors and the scientists and the lawmakers, and you want me to talk about me? I'm already bored, and I'm me. So what are you guys going to be like? So I'm going to do that bit very quickly. I need to just rattle through a few slides. See if this works. It's not working. It's working on the screen, guys, but it's not working here. There we go. So, let me just whistle through. I don't know why I'm not rich, because I look at all those jobs and think, surely I should be a millionaire by now, but I'm not. So I am a serial entrepreneur. It's interesting to me that when Adam said, "Where are you all from?" that nobody put their hand up, or nobody even said, "I'm from the world of business." Why is business not in the room? Is anybody else wondering that? I am from the world of business. So when Maria said, "Please tell your journey," I thought perhaps actually there is an upside, because perhaps I can speak about what I believe is the most powerful tool that we have, and that is the tool of business. We do not have time to create another tool. This is the only one that we have in order to create change at scale and at speed. So my background, as you can see, advertising, for some crazy reason, went into the restaurant business. Never do it. Anybody who's thinking of it. Never think, I might retire and open a pub or a restaurant. It's a nightmare. I had a design agency, slightly ironic, packaging design, little bit of film production, and then I went into personal care. And this is where I really started to become the plastic sinner that stands before you now. Because how many millions of plastic bottles have I personally pumped out into the environment? A lot, let me tell you. Wasn't even on my list. How shameful is it for me to stand here now and say, this is now 15 years ago we created this brand. Didn't even really think about what happened to them next. And then, as many people do, I had my own personal epiphany, which was I was asked to advise the Hong Kong board of the documentary filmmakers who made A Plastic Ocean. I'm sure some of you may have seen this documentary, pre-Blue Planet 2. And of course, that for me was a very, very fast learning curve. That for me was realizing the devastation that we have caused the oceans and everything that lives beneath the water, but then also starting to realize the impact on human health. And then I became a little bit obsessed by plastic, because it struck me that it's not just about the waste. It's not just about pollution. It's not just the devastation that we have caused our oceans, our soil, our air, our own human bodies now. But it goes beyond that. And when people say, you've got the climate crisis, the carbon crisis, and the plastic crisis, we have to intrinsically connect the two, because of course they are intrinsically connected. Because what is the one material that was so easy, so simple, so cheap, so lightweight, that we could use it once and throw it away? So what was the enabler, really, of the climate crisis, I believe, was the invention of plastic. Because that has been the enabler of us to massively ramp up to these current heady levels of hyperconsumption that we think is normal. So myself and my co-founder is sitting out here somewhere, Frederica Magnuson, decided, was there an opportunity here to create a different kind of business? A business that was perhaps a proactivist, that ignited and inspired business from within and then championed them when they do the right thing. Because obviously as an entrepreneur, I believe in the power of business. That didn't just talk about blame and guilt, because those things, blame and guilt, they stop us. They make us powerless. We don't know what to do. We're scared of stepping onto any path, so we don't take any step at all. Is there an opportunity to create an organization that doesn't just focus on the problem? I don't know about you, but I don't like to speak at ocean summits and things like that. Everybody knows, and guess what? No shit, Sherlock, it's even worse, because we haven't stopped. I'm much more interested in focusing on solutions. So some 5 years ago, it's gone like that, some 5 years ago, we created an organization called A Plastic Planet. And we had this very, very simple goal. We don't focus on the waste. We don't talk about recycling. We don't focus on that end of the pipe. We focus on the beginning of the pipe. So our entire mission is simply to ignite and inspire the world to turn off the plastic tap. And this is how we do it. We have, everyone loves a pillar. We have 4 pillars. And education, but trust me, this is not about kids. The children of the world do not need to be told plastic is not a good thing. We have gone wrong. It's us. It's the grown-ups. It's the people within business. This is where we need to see the change. We need to keep a very strong focus, and this is part of our main job. We need to have very strong media-driven campaigns to keep it on the top of the agenda, particularly right now, where everybody is talking about carbon. And through the pandemic, plastic has become this wonderful default material that is just protecting us from everything. We need new laws, just as Hugo was saying. We have to have new laws. We are part of the global treaty dialogues, which are working towards UNEA 5.2 next year, where we are bringing together some 300 stakeholders, some of the biggest polluters that you saw on that list, ExxonMobil, Dow Chemical, in the same room as the Unilevers, the Mondeleses, the P&Gs, but also with Greenpeace and WWF, having these awkward conversations about consensus. We need new laws. Why is it okay for us to send our trash to other countries for them to deal with? This is the worst of waste imperialism, and it makes me very ashamed. And then fundamentally, we have to work with industry on solutions. So a tiny snapshot of some of the things that we have done, because I have a lot to say and very little time to say it. A few of you may remember in Amsterdam, February 2018, we opened this, the world's first plastic-free aisle. And I wanted to just quickly show you this because the importance of this is we have to move from words to action. No human can relate to a piece of paper, a theory, a principle. We have to see things. They have to exist for us. We have to experience them. So this was an example of prototyping the future. We launched this year a campaign that would highlight the some 60% of our wardrobes that are basically just plastic bags hanging there. Nobody knows. You ask somebody on the street what polyester is made of. They have no idea that it is fossil fuel plastic. Massive pollutant, everything that we know about the fashion industry. But because we are collaborative and because we believe in business, we talk to the fashion industry through the middle of this year to say, own this movement. Do not be a victim of it. Own this movement. Create plastic-free collections. Prove that this can be done. And extraordinarily, well, perhaps not extraordinarily, all they wanted to talk about was the poly bag. Yeah, you're right, Sian. We really need to do something about the poly bag. I was like, what about what's inside the poly bag? They are so not ready for this conversation, but we will continue. And in fact, there is one gentleman in the audience that you should all meet, Nicolas Rachat, from mover.eu. Check them out. The first man that we are aware of who has created this incredible, beautiful range of totally plastic-free clothing. This slide has gone a bit wrong. It should say plasticfree.com, but never mind. Plasticfree.com is the biggest thing that we have ever done at A Plastic Planet. Everything begins at the design phase. Be it a t-shirt, be it a bottle, whatever it is, it begins at the design phase. But why are the creatives not in this audience? There are 160 million creatives globally. Why are they disempowered? Every brief they get right now will have that word sustainability in the first paragraph. They don't know what to do. So we are building this global platform, which looks really bad on these slides now, but forgive me. But we're building this amazing-looking global platform that will fill that knowledge gap between the creative industry and the plastic-free materials makers, the system changers, the converters, so that we can empower the creative industry to design differently at the outset, because this will change everything. Tiny examples of really what I believe is our database, our interaction with the materials makers coming into play. We're working with Kraft Heinz. As I said, we believe in working with industry. We work with the biggest polluters on the planet. How can we eradicate the billions of plastic sachets that they pump out every single year? And through the connections that we have, the magnet that we've become for new materials innovation, we have 5 different plastic-free alternatives that are now going into lab testing. Another one, some of you may have seen this because I've been showing this slide for some 2 years now, but the good news is that the 5th biggest polluter on the planet, Unilever, is changing the system by elevating design from that forest floor, that knitted armpit world of sustainability, to something that is so beautiful, so aspirational, so I want it, and then it happens to also be something that is more sustainable. And the good news about this, it's the most successful launch that they have ever had in their most important personal care brand, Dove. They launched it in the US in February, and people didn't just buy it once, which often happens. We've all got cupboards full of the newest innovation, and we didn't buy the refill. But the refill sales are 3 times the amount that they thought they would ever be. So this is how good design will change the system. As an entrepreneur, as you can imagine, I always believe that where there is change, there is opportunity. And for me, this is where the opportunities are. What are the new biomaterials? Using agri-waste, not using feedstocks. What are the new materials of the future? I had this incredible presentation from somebody at Climate Tech recently talking about lab agriculture, how we can now create leather using stem cell technology. What about the materials that we don't even know about yet? This is going to be our future. True circularity. And here we are in a city that has adopted the donut economic model to rebuild their economy post-COVID. This makes me so excited to see how can we live in this new economic model of thriving, not this unsustainable GDP. Products and packaging of permanence. I predict that the packaging design industry will be the next dinosaur. Why do we need it anymore? We need things of permanence. How can we move to this world where we buy better, we buy less, we share more, we repair more, we rent more? This will be our future. Another terrible slide there. I'm very excited that we are entering this new, incredible materials revolution. And systems change. Many people have talked about this is what we're going to see, extraordinary new ways that we haven't even envisaged it. Another reason that we need the creative industry to get on board. This is where we are right now. It's very easy for us to be thinking, la 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 la, it's too terrifying. Who am I? I'm completely disempowered in this. I take my reusable coffee cup. Surely that's what I can do. And that fear is the thing that will slow us down. And I love this quote. If one is mentally out of breath all the time from dealing with the present, there is no energy left for imagining the future. We all, as individuals, within our worlds of work, everything that we do, and particularly the creative industry, they have an absolute responsibility to prototype this new future, to make it real, to reimagine a future that our children can look forward to. And it isn't just our children. So I finish with this slide, which is from an incredible book called How to Be a Good Ancestor. And that grey circle, I don't know if you could see, but that grey circle, those are the people that went before us. So those are the dead. God bless them. The green circle is us. That's the 7.7 billion people living today, right now on planet Earth. Everything we do in the next 8.5 years is not just going to impact my children, your children, our grandchildren. What we do now, the future that we prototype and that we create, is going to impact that massive orange circle, the billions of people that are yet to be born. This is our responsibility. You'll all know that saying, that if you're not an activist today, then you are the problem. But I want to say that word, activist, what is the most important part of that word? Action. So my call to all of you today is no more words. Stop talking about the problem. Let the scientists point out the problem, but everybody else, we need to talk about solutions. We need to move forward at pace to solutions right now. Because I don't want to be the generation that made this mess and did not act fast enough to fix it. Thank you.
Thank you.